name's Heidi, and I'm married to Mark, and we've been married 11 years. I have a son, Jacob, who's 10, and a son, Sam, who's 7. In November of last year, I was diagnosed with myelodysplastic syndrome, and it's a bone marrow failure disease that will eventually kill you, with the only cure being a bone marrow transplant. So at the time being, I'm waiting for a donor. I just had a upset stomach for a few days, and then it kind of turned into a couple of weeks, and finally at Mark's urging, I went to the doctor. They did some routine blood work, and the blood work just sort of kept coming back awkward and anemic is what it kept showing. Within about a week, I had my first bone marrow biopsy, and that came back with the myelodysplasia, or myelodysplastic syndrome, and so that was sort of the start of all the chaos of realizing that this disease was a lot bigger than we thought. For me, the hardest thing was to see each day and each thing our kids did, or each dinner, every single thing I was doing just on a normal day. I was thinking at that time, will this be the last time I ever see this happen? I think God was really calling out to me at that point to say, you know, here it is, hold it in your hand, the preciousness of all that I've given you. But then he met me in that deepest, darkest point and said, okay, so now go and live, because no matter what the doctors tell me and Mark and our family and our friends, I'm still responsible for today. And I can't take away this illness. I can't take a magic pill and make it go away. I can't know what I'm going to find out tomorrow from a doctor, but I can choose life today. We all have something in our life that God is calling us to bring him glory through. Sometimes it's really great, and he wants us to bring glory through wealth and success and joy, and then sometimes it's darkness and it's deep and it's painful and it doesn't make sense. And of course, I don't want this, but this is the journey that God's allowed us to be on, that he's said, okay, here it is. How are you going to glorify me? And so that's where I put my focus. If I turn around and I put my focus on myself, or what I may not have, or what I may miss out on the future, then it's not bringing God glory, and it doesn't do what he's calling me to do, which is focus entirely on him on every moment. Philippians 1:20 says, I eagerly expect and hope that I will in no way be ashamed, but will have sufficient courage, so that now as always Christ will be exalted in my body, whether by life or by death. There's nothing I can do to take away the sadness except to release it to God, because in that sadness, he's creating me and changing me into the person he wants me to be in the midst of this illness. God just sort of squished me and said, you know, look at me in the face and know that no matter where you go and what you see and what pain you feel and what loss you feel, I will always be here for you. There's no hope without Christ. So my hope and my power and my strength and my courage can only come from him. If what this disease is a way for people to move themselves out of where they are, to say, okay, God, I don't really understand you. You're bigger than what I know, but somehow I want to know you better. I want to figure out what this thing is all about, then it's all worth it. If one person comes to Christ because of this, then it's worth it.
There aren't a lot of people in church who will admit that they're into gambling. But whether you like it or not, you really are a betting person. And what you're betting is you're betting your life. You either bet your life that God is or he isn't. And if he is, you bet you better surrender.